right, let's talk sports, fans. Thanks for tuning in.
Good evening, sports fans. Oh, man, it is going to be a heartbreak city, heart attack city. As we are watching, I am watching Kentucky play Oakland, and they're down by 5 with 9 minutes to go. I got Kentucky winning the whole fucking bracket, folks. So if they lose this game, it's sardine milkshake city for you, boy. Because it doesn't, I mean, Jesus. This kid Oakland's got is just, I mean, lights out. He's made 9 3-pointers. 9 3-pointers. Can we guard him? Can we guard him? Can we guard him? Anyway, all right. So we'll talk a little bit of bracket early games so far. Thoughts on that, and we'll also do Jonathan Grisham will be joining us to talk a little American League East. So we'll break down that division. In the back end, Jim will join, talk a little wrestling, talk a little hockey news. He is live, boots on the ground at the Devils game, so he's doing what he loves. So, shout out to Jim. We got the guys, a couple guys with us. Johnny is out, ailing that back. Tanner made his 1 monthly appearance on Monday, so we won't see him probably next month, maybe. So, but we do have Mr. First Down and the one and only our Mr. Hall of Famer, Scott Cobe.
Cobe?
John Calipari. Again. What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing?
I could not be happier.
You're just shooting threes. Your players aren't even running after loose balls. They're watching it go out of bounds. I mean, come on.
They got to turn it on, Scott. They're down 7, but I mean that one kid has made 9 threes. I can't think. It's just ridiculous.
And now he just finally decided to stick a kid on him and just guard him. Instead of doing it when the kid hits 3 or 4, you wait until he hits 9 or 8, and then you decide, I'm going to guard him. Well, what are you doing, pal? I mean, if this gets down into 4 minutes, the 4-minute timeout, and Oakland's still ahead, Kentucky's in a lot of trouble because Oakland's going to have ultra confidence in this game. I just don't understand what Calipari's doing. I don't have a clue.
They've missed easy shots, buckets.
They're not hitting any threes, and he's just saying, just shoot it more. Just shoot it more and more. Well,
this Tennessee fan could not be happier.
Yeah,
last two trips down the floor, they've looked good, like in the hole here. So yeah, they got to stop them on defense, though. Got to get some defense going, Kentucky, which I know they struggle. That's been the biggest.
And for everybody that backed McNeese State, how you feel now, buddy?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Scott. Early takeaways. Michigan State, nice win. I had that one, and then I told you guys. I told you about the Duquesne Dukies survived and advanced. They've kind of been the biggest upset of the day so far.
I guess the Mormons can't play basketball before 8:00 at night because
not fundamentally sound.
They did not show up and play. And the other team that didn't show up, Nevada. You're up 17 with 7 minutes left in the game, and you can't.
Yeah, what happened there? I went to take a shit, and I come back and they lost the game, Scott. I was like, damn it, Steve Alford.
They forgot
South Carolina.
Yeah, Nevada forgot to do in the last 7 minutes of the game what they did in the first 33 minutes of the game. And that cost you in the NCAA tournament. You make one mistake and give a team a roll, especially a team that shouldn't be. Dayton didn't look good at all. And then all of a sudden they reeled off a run and they put Nevada away. So in the NCAA tournament, especially, you can't allow teams to get back in games. You got to put them away. The day session, I noticed a lot of offenses were sleeping. In the night session, there's plenty of offense to go around right now. So
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that I've looked at when I'm betting games or doing whatever is the teams that play early are going to have trouble on offense in scoring the basketball. Like Michigan State and Mississippi State, that was terrible. That was awful in the first half, and then all of a sudden they started to hit shots and stuff like that. So, that's what I look at is the offenses have finally started to wake up, and everybody that thinks McNeese State and Sanford are going to make damage in this tournament, you better think again.
Yeah, McNeese State over for them. They took that ass whooping already. I mean, it's over for them.
Down 25.
In the words of Annie Agar, she said, typically BYU usually struggles scoring on Friday nights, not on Thursdays. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean,
not as fundamentally sound as I thought they would be. I'll tell you that.
No, what are you doing, BYU? I mean, you're not hitting any threes. You're not hitting very many threes. You go down 12-2 in the first. You didn't score in the first 4 minutes of the game. Did not score.
Very
and you were down 12-2 with like 13 minutes left in the first half before you woke up. So that's a death knell to your chances as well when you do that thing. So
yeah, Kentucky's
down 2 now. Yeah.
Down
so maybe
2.
They're waking up. I have DraftKings on, so they're a little bit ahead. They're going to be a little bit ahead. So.
I would say you must got ahead of me because I don't got. I'm on a commercial break. It's still 61-56 to me.
Yeah. They just came back. I got it on in the background, so they just came back on.
Good. What's it on? DraftKings, the app or something? You got it at the app or what?
I got it on my laptop, on my other laptop that's sitting beside me, and then I got the game on in the background. I'm listening to it, radio in it.
Where Tanner has monitors, Scott has laptops just surround.
Yeah. I have two. I have the laptop community.
So DraftKings is got to be like a minute ahead of time.
Yeah, they're about a minute ahead of time.
Nick is over there like,
how is that possible?
World.
I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they're way ahead of the TV situation.
Oh, he just hit the 3, so now it is a 2-point game. I got you. Now it's 50. Yeah. I got you. So really about 30 seconds ahead, really probably 30, 45 seconds, yeah.
Yeah, but you're finally waking up. I mean, come on. Where have you been the first 30 minutes of the game?
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Jonathan will be joining us here shortly. Brick wall for all the bricks showed up today, Scott, for for March Madness. Is that why we're behind the brick wall?
No, I'm in solitary confinement right now. I got arrested today, so I'm the license plate machine is right next to me.
Are you Shohei Ohtani's translator? Is that why you're...
I am. Shohei's over here. I just talked to Shohei. He put a bet in on Sanford over Kansas tonight. So.
Oh my God! They can't stop drilling threes.
That's all Oakland is doing is shooting threes. I mean, what are you doing, Kentucky? Just guard the 3-point line.
Doing improv. Oh my God!
I'm going to do my LA night impressions all night long.
So I'm an alcohol.
Oh, there we go. Right back at you.
I'll watch it. He's going to talk to us.
Let me talk to you.
I mean, speaking of that, and we'll have to ask Jonathan today about it too when he comes on here in just a minute about the Shohei stuff. So if you haven't, from what I've gathered, I'm not dove deep into it today, but his translator, and I say that loosely because it sounds like Shohei was doing some stuff, maybe, I think, and his translator's taking the fall for it. But his translators are saying, that his translator took all this money, made all these illegal bets, and did all this money. But I believe Shohei probably did it all, and his translator taking the fall.
Plus, I saw an article on ESPN tonight saying that Shohei's reps want MLB to do an investigation. So if there was any
the bracket, y'all, he's not winning the bracket challenge.
if there was any strange goings on with Shohei, his reps would not ask that. So I fully believe that Shohei
Ari is trying to cover it up. You know what I mean? Well, here's the thing. Or you know what I mean? Like, hey, look into us because we don't have nothing to hide. Our baseball is just. You think Rob Manfred's going to let the face of the league, in the face of baseball and all the money signs that Shohei brings in, to be suspended for a year for gambling on baseball?
No,
there's too much money.
No. The interpreter's taking the fall for this, whether he did it or not. You're taking the fall for it, buddy. So I don't think he's going to serve any jail time. That's what I heard today.
Really?
That's what I heard. Again, smoke screens. Plenty of smoke screens around that, as with free agencies we talk about. But
brackets. I never want to do brackets again. This is awful.
but yeah, I mean, there's more coming out. I guess there's some more that has not been reported yet that will be coming out. So,
Otani's an interpreter, and that Jaguars guy that stole $22 million should
they're hanging out together, right?
Right. They're in the next cell from me, by the way, just so you know. So we're all in solitary confinement together.
The Jaguars, I don't know if you guys heard, speaking of that, just memory recall on that Jaguars guy. I guess FanDuel or Jaguars asked FanDuel for their money back from that guy, and FanDuel was like, no, that's our fucking money. Like, that's y'all's fault. That's y'all's issue. Not my issue. Like, that's y'all's issue.
Tell your billionaire who's funding all this and AEW to try to, figure that out.
Everybody came out and said this guy was the worst bettor they've ever seen.
The Jaguar guy or the translator?
The Jaguar guy. He's the worst bettor they've ever seen bet games.
Let's fucking go, boys. 4 minutes. Come on, we gotta get.
He was betting games that there was no chance of him winning. It's just like he was just burning money away.
Well, he was getting free money, Scott. Hey, free money. He was like, hey, what's the odds here? This ain't my money. I'll go get some more money.
It's like he's betting Atlanta Braves against Oakland A's, and he's betting the A's to win the game.
Plus 2,000.
That's the type of stuff he's making. It's like, come on,
I
man.
did read that, and it was like a lot of weird shit too, like Calvin Ridley plus 20 catches or some shit. You know what I mean? He's just like, fuck it.
Yeah, it's like I made too much. I got $2 million from the organization. So
we'll go ahead. This guy his baseball team has been the team that he's been coaching the last week we talked to him, they was hot. Now they're not even red hot. They white hot, boys. So white hot they beat a ranked team, I think number 8 team in the nation today. Their team is handling business. He's coaching them up, and he's here to coach us up and talk about Scott's division, the American League East. Give it up for our baseball coach, Jonathan Grisham, baby.
There was a hell of a medicine ball too, if you guys saw that video.
Hey, Jonathan, have the Oakland A's contacted you about becoming their manager yet? Is there a possibility?
No, not yet.
What rank was the team you beat today, Jonathan?
So they were 20th in the country today.
Okay, number 20th. Kale's right.
So this is actually the back-to-back weekends. We have faced a nationally ranked conference opponent. We played a team last week that was number 12th in the country and swept them. And now we beat today, game 1, number 20 team in the country, Arkansas State Mountain Home. And actually, this is the third. So we had this series, last week's series, and we played Seminole, which Seminole was Seminole College. They were ranked when we beat them a week and a half ago, or last week as well. So at the moment right now, 4 straight games, 4 straight wins against ranked opponents over the last week and a half.
It's all you, John. It's all you, baby.
No, it's not all me. No.
I don't work about. Get this, guys. We talked about this last night in the baseball show. They just had 3 mandatory days off and had to come back to school and play a game within 24 hours. Mm-hmm. How crazy is that? I mean, I've never heard that before. Usually you get 3 or 4 practices in before you go out and play a game. But because, it's so stupid. It's just stupid.
Yeah, it made no sense. And like I said, we're asking 18, 19, 20-year-olds to go home for a few days, for 3-4 days, really 4 days, go home, get work on your own, and then come back ready to play a game. Yeah, I mean, and kudos to these kids. They did. We sent them out. We trusted them, and right now they showed up ready to go. So, again, kudos to those kids for putting the work in like they were supposed to.
So before we get to the AL East, Jonathan, let's talk about the big story in baseball, the Shohei stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts on the Shohei stuff and what's going on?
I don't. Y'all know as well as I do how I handle certain aspects of information. When we talked about Wander Franco last year, I don't like commenting on things until I know for certain of what's taking place and what's going on.
What the hell?
Oh man, we had some big technical difficulties, huh?
Nixon spinning mode right now, so
Yeah, he's a spinning beach ball.
There we go.
Spinning.
It booted me out. The whole damn thing booted.
Sure.
The whole thing
Kids
booted me
streaming
out. So now I'm stressing over this Kentucky game.
but yeah, Jonathan, keep going on the Shohei.
So at the moment, again, I'm reading more information, and the problem with what we're reading right now is what I get out of it is there is more information that is out there we just don't know yet. Stories are changing. Information is being twisted. Details are being left out. That's not good. And I don't want to speculate, and because that's so dangerous, especially with the situation. Again, same thing last year with Wander Franco until we got a lot more information came out. This time, again, different situation as far as what, but we're talking about a serious crime, that is allegedly being taken place. And the bigger question I think that a lot of baseball fans are asking, Major League Baseball itself are asking, what did Shohei know?
Yeah,
because that was a lot. Because that was what
Everything.
Shohei knew.
Everything. That's my big.
Again, there was a story where he knew the gambling debt.
I believe he did it.
And then also the story changed. Well, he didn't know anything about this. And the translator said, I stole the money. There's so much information that we don't know what's happened and what's going on until an investigation occurs, which is about to be. Major League Baseball is going to get themselves involved in investigating. I'm sure the FBI is going to get involved because $4.5 million. That's not a. We're not calling the local police for this.
That's not.
We're calling the FBI. So I'm imagining. I imagine that we're going to get a big investigation on this, and that's when we start getting a little bit more information.
Yeah, Jonathan. Here's the thing. Chris Carter once said this, and I stand firm on this. Everybody's got to have a fall guy. When you're that rich, you got to have a fall guy. And guess who the fall guy is today?
The interpreter.
Mr. Interpreter. Everybody got a fall guy. Ray Lewis had a fall guy. OJ had somewhat of a fall guy, but then he still, whatever. Everybody got to have a fall guy when you're rich and famous. And
but MLB's not right.
Yeah, we all commit a crime. Sam's the one that takes the blame. He already knows. He's going to take the fall.
Well, I'm saying MLB's not working that way.
Help me.
MLB's not working that way because we're seeing Trevor Bauer is not in the league because of an alleged situation that he was found innocent on based off of the charges being dropped. Wander Franco is about to face life in prison in the Dominican Republic because of the stuff that he's gone through. Yeah, and I'm not actually. I don't know if it's going to be life or whatever. I don't know the whole system.
But he's going to serve. He's going
to be in prison for a very long time in the Dominican Republic. So
he's no longer going to play in Major League Baseball. That's two different things, though. Two different. We're talking two different scenarios. Two of those things are sexual acts. One is with a minor, which nobody, you know what I mean, and then one is gambling.
Nick, you just named two situations of murder in the NFL. So is that not a
Ray Lewis had a fall guy. Somebody took the fall for him. Those guys didn't have fall guys. That's the problem. They didn't have fall guys. Everybody got to have a fall guy.
If there's information, again, it's speculating here. I'm speaking hypothetically. If there's information that Shohei knew, or let's go to the worst case scenario. Shohei's the one that did the gambling, which Major League Baseball has a very big zero tolerance policy on, as we know in the big argument, and then we saw just now from Cale Carr saying about Pete Rose. Major League Baseball has a zero tolerance policy when it comes to gambling, and it does not matter. It does not matter
God,
who you are. If there's information and it gets leaked out, let's just say it gets leaked that Shohei knew, not only knew, but it was his gambling that he did. Oh my goodness! You're talking about the walls collapsing in Major League Baseball because of it.
Mm-hmm.
So let me
ask you this though, Jonathan. Go ahead, Scott.
Let me ask you this, Jonathan. If he bet on KBO, his home country, if he bet on football, if he bet on something else, do you think MLB brings the hammer down on him, or have we heard that he's bet?
Just understand you cannot gamble.
Has he bet on his own games? Have we heard that?
From what I've heard, that there was bets made on MLB games. That's what I've read. And again, how much of that is true? Because things are changing. The story's changing so much.
By the minute.
Initially, from what I've heard and what I read, initially, part of the gambling that took place was on Major League Baseball games.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the story's going to start changing here, and they're like, "Oh, well, this is something that it wasn't. It was just sports gambling." That's what they changed it to when it's sports gambling. So it made it more vague in the story at the moment. But which that's part of the issue here is personnel, regardless of who you are. If you get a contract with Major League Baseball, if you're a player, a manager, a front office personnel, an athletic trainer, or in this case, an interpreter, your contract, you are a contracted worker of the team, which is a contracted worker of Major League Baseball. In the contract, it states in there you are not allowed to gamble on Major League Baseball games. Zero tolerance policy, 100%, no matter who you are. If you are associated with a Major League Baseball club under contract, guess what? You cannot gamble on baseball. So if the interpreter is the one who did it, he'll be banned. He's fired. He got fired, and he'll be banned from ever working with a Major League Baseball team ever again. And Shohei, in this case, if Shohei is involved in this, we're going to talk about Shohei Ohtani being banned from baseball if allegedly, speculatively as well, it was him that made the bets that took place.
Oh my God, what are we doing?
At the moment, we don't know that's the case because only one person is taking the fall, but I'm certain we will get more information as it goes down. And I hope, for the sake of Major League Baseball, Shohei's not involved in the gambling that took place.
So
2 points.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay, I want to make two things. First, the interpreter was around him even today, correct? Is that was still around him today? Like, if somebody stole this money and did all this stuff, I mean, we're talking. I'm throwing 100-mile-an-hour baseball at his fucking dome. You know what I mean? You don't steal $2 million from somebody and walk away from it. That's right. My other. So I want to make that point. Like, right?
4.5.
4.5 million, even more. You don't walk away stealing 4.5 million from nobody on earth, right? Second of all, if I'm MLB, and I made this point, I asked Scott and Sam this earlier. I said this earlier. Do you think they want the cream of the crop, Shohei Ohtani, who brings in billions of dollars for Major League Baseball, puts eyes on baseball, to be suspended 1 year? No, they don't. They're going to cover this up just like they cover everything else up, just like the government covers everything else up. They're going to cover it up. They're going to say, hey, we're going to make this guy the fall guy. Hey, call me a conspiracy theorist all you want, but I mean, this is like saying, the dude who shot JFK, not J. Edgar Hoover, but what's his name? Shot JFK. That didn't happen.
You cannot cover this up, though.
You can. You can cover anything up these days, Jonathan. Then when you're a $1 billion industry, you're gonna cover it up. If the FBI is involved, then I don't think MLB can cover it up. I think it's gone above their heads. So what I said before was with the FBI not involved, but now that the FBI is involved, I think that it's out of MLB's hands, and I think your two-time MVP could, if they find out he has anything to do with this, I think he's going to get suspended by MLB.
Not suspended. Not suspended, banned.
Banned.
Because again, it is if you gambled on
Lee
baseball
Harvey
games,
Oswald,
Lee
if
Harvey
you
Oswald.
gamble on Major League Baseball games, it is a automatic lifetime ban.
Yeah.
You are banished. There's not a suspension. We're talking. So, yeah, I mean, this is something that in Major League Baseball they're not going to be able to cover this up. They better pray and hope that Shohei had nothing to do with this, and knew. And
oh my God, he fucking made it! God, fuck.
We got a sardine milkshake on the line here, Jonathan. That's why he's going like he's going. Yeah, I forgot about that. This is the Pete Rose stuff where.
Yep.
Well, you go further back. I mean, the beginning of the banishment of gambling goes to the Shoeless Joe Jackson and the Black Sox.
The Black Sox.
Yeah.
I mean, Shoeless Joe said he didn't even know how to read and write, so they still paying his ass.
But
it's over. Kentucky's going to lose. They just drilled a 3 in the corner.
Now, this is another. Now let's put this. We'll throw this scenario out there. What if Shohei? It's not Shohei who made the bets. It was, in fact, it was the interpreter that did it. But Shohei didn't know. I think there is a suspension at that point. Then that follows it. I think there is.
If he did know, you're saying, what if Shohei told him the bets to make?
If he no, it's just that he knew he knew someone who's associated with him, associated with Major League Baseball, the LA Dodgers. He's a contracted worker. And Shohei knew that this guy was making bets, and he went ahead and covered it because, again, if he's bet on baseball games, if this interpreter bet on baseball games, he has insider information. He has inside information on teams and scouting reports and everything like that he went ahead and make bets based off of. That's just, again, assuming. And Shohei knew ahead of time that this was going on, and he helped cover the guy's bets.
He's going to get suspended.
I think then at that point, a suspension is going to occur. How long the suspension? I don't know. I mean, we don't. This would be unprecedented situation that, honestly, you could probably see a season, a one year ban.
That's what I'm thinking too. He's out. He's gone for the year. He's done.
Because again, if you don't take the extreme in this situation, how many other people can make bets then for a player that's associated with that player and make bets for them and just say, well, hey, you're suspended 5 games or 5 or 10 games. That's worth it. If you can go ahead and make an additional, $1 million on a bet, and you put because of information that you have, and if I get caught, I didn't make the bet. I just helped my friend make the bet. I'm going to be suspended 5 games. Well, that's worth it. It's the same reason why, PEDs. If we remember, performance enhancing drug suspension was a 6-game suspension. Nobody was afraid of being suspended for 6 games until they changed it and said, okay, it's 80 games.
Ooh.
So I think in this case, if playing the scenario out, if he knew the interpreter was making bets, he helped cover the bets for the guy. You're guilty of association. That should be a 1-year ban at that point. Then,
before we get back to baseball, look at our host's face. That'll tell you what he thinks about Kentucky. But John Calipari, the Nick's
hair's out. Something bad.
Most overrated coach in the last 5 years. Let's flip it. Jonathan, let's flip it to the season now. Without Shohei, what does this do to the Dodgers? Do you think?
Well, let's put it this way: this won't happen until 2025. They're going to drag their investigation out the entire season. Okay. All right, so we're talking about 2025. If something happens, it'll occur in 2025, not this year. So, I'll be shocked. Now, unless Major League Baseball says, hey, we're going to put you on the commissioner's list because of this investigation, just much like they do with someone who is has a domestic violence allegation against them, they put him on the commissioner's list, and he still gets paid, but he cannot play. That would be a situation that would be very interesting. I don't think they're going to do that at the moment unless something explosive information comes out. Then they're going to be like, okay, we have no choice now. We're going to have to do this while the investigation continues. But I think we're looking at 2025. If anything occurs or anything happens to Shohei for punishment wise, it will be after 2024 into the 2025 season.
Yeah.
Is every team thinking right now, thank God we didn't sign him to that kind of contract?
No.
Man, that offseason, man, everybody keeping up where Ohtani was going and everything. Boy, it's just.
Well, first of all, at the time that the Shohei tour was going on, nobody knew about this, number one.
Right. Well, I know that, but
number
imagine
two,
if they did.
He's the best player on the planet. He's the best player on the planet.
It does make the contract more interesting as far as what happens moving forward. But no,
I don't give me this shit he didn't know either. If somebody stole $4 million from me, I don't care if you're a billionaire or not. You fucking know.
You know something. You know something.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know the situation. You know what? He could probably I don't speak English, and then I'm just going to ship my ass back to Japan and see you ladies. You ain't going to catch me. You know what I mean? I don't know if we have extradition rights or not.
It's highly possible he goes back to KBO or something, and they'll take him back.
There is extradition with Japan in the United States. There is on that. Maybe he
goes to North Korea. There's none there. I don't know.
Oh God.
I know there's some countries over there that told me not to get in too much trouble when I was over there because there ain't no extradition, so I wasn't allowed to.
Him and Dennis Rodman just in North Korea, just chilling. You know,
he will be playing baseball in 2025, whether it's in the majors or in back in his home country. He will be playing someplace.
That's the thing. Like I said, there's so much we still don't know. That's the dangerous thing about this situation. We don't know how much he knew. Did he know, or did he do it?
The question is, how much are you willing to believe is bullshit, and how much are you willing to believe that's not bullshit?
I have to, again, as a journalist too, in this situation, I have to remain neutral until I get more information. I'm not going to go one way or another. Now, that's okay. That is the professional answer in the response.
The media answer is, I got to get this first. I got to put something out.
Of course. That's how the world works, Scott.
Now, as a human being here, I'm with you, Nick. If I knew $4.5 million was missing, if I found out, I know that I have people who handle my money that should know or flag or press the red button of panic and say, well, you lost $4.5 million. Something happened. Our books say we don't have $4.5 million anymore. What's going on?
Exactly. I'm taking that MVP bat and I'm bashing it upside this guy's head. Kale's right. I'm firing everybody. The people, everybody.
I'm not saying I'm not grabbing a baseball because again, I get one throw with a baseball. I'm grabbing a bat and I'm taking as many swings as possible with it.
Well, you sure Ohtani, I'm pretty sure you're going to hit him right in the head.
This is a guy who took
a baseball. John, he throw a baseball. He just say, "Hey, I threw it. I thought he was going to catch it," and they just hit him upside the head. I didn't see him there. A bat's a little harder to defend in court.
I'm telling you, I don't care. $4.5 million, and again, for me personally, because I don't have anything close to that. If I have $4.5 million and that's missing, I'm going to court after I beat the brakes off of somebody with a bat, and I said, "Yep, I did it," and I'm getting my money back in the process too. I don't care if I'm sitting in jail with it. My bank account will have that $4.5 million while I'm sitting in jail until I get out.
Remember, the guy that took $2 million from the Dodgers and backloaded his contract. And now you're looking at your bank account going, $4.5 million of DraftKings. What the hell is going on?
Well, it wasn't even DraftKings. It was some offshore legal bookie.
Do you think that's where the money went? It was gambling with DraftKings?
No. I'm just using that as an example. I'm just.
It was some offshore bookie. It was some offshore bookie, and California's illegal gambling anyway, so it couldn't have been one of them.
I mean, do you think that's the next? Do you think that's the next sponsorship for after this whole situation for Shohei? Is DraftKings or FanDuel?
Yeah. I only draft on DraftKings. I only gamble on DraftKings. They know where my $4.5 million are.
Everything's in Japanese. Nick, everything's in Japanese, and then the interpreter that he fired is going to come out and say DraftKings. Wow, the picture.
Yeah.
It's so, I mean, $4.5 million, anybody, whether you have 145 million or 400,000, anybody's going to know $4.5 million is missing out of their account someplace. Anybody.
Yeah, I'd say
So-
that's the professional answer I give in this situation is let's wait for more info. As a human being, there's no way you don't know. There's no way you don't know unless like you guys are saying you have a fall guy because it was actually you making the bets and you lost $4.5 million in the process. I don't want to speculate on that. And again, for Major League Baseball,
I will.
being a fan of Major League Baseball,
I would too.
the sport cannot have this scandal.
Just Dr. Pepper this time, Kel.
They cannot have this scandal. They're still recover. Major League Baseball is still trying to recover from the '94 strike. They're still recovering from the '94 strike. It took a steroids era to bail them out, and then they went right back into the tank with the popularity because of the steroid scandal. And then
Then you got.
They never
Then you had.
recovered.
Don't forget, you had just the trash can air shit just a couple years ago.
If you're Major, like this is the Wander Frank, like Trevor Bauer, Wander Franco, the last couple of years. This is the worst thing to pop up on Major League Baseball's radar right now.
With this guy.
You are doing
With
everything
this
you can to gain your popularity back, and you're moving. I'll say this: they are moving in the right direction. They are moving in the right direction to get popularity. At least growing their popularity.
Yep.
Now you have it just like they did again in 98, 99. It was popularity was booming after the 94 strike. Then the scandal, the steroids came into play and it knocked it all down. Then you starting to try to build. Hey, we're going to change some things. We're going to change the All-Star game to try to get some popularity. We got a little bit of it back, and then it tanked because more steroid scandals came up and popped up at that point too. Biogenesis. It was the Mitchell Report in 05, and then Biogenesis in later in the 2000s, early 2010s, and then now here we are with a gambling scandal, potentially a gambling scandal, when Major League Baseball is continuing to try to grow its popularity again. This is the worst thing that Major League Baseball has to deal with. I don't want to deal with this, and especially with the biggest star of the sport. That escalates it to another level, and I can only imagine the people in New York are shaking with terror.
Gotta be
For at least a year until they know for a fact that Shohei is not involved in this.
You gotta be Jonathan. You gotta. This guy goes to the biggest market, Los Angeles, to one of the top 3 teams in baseball in the Dodgers. All kinds of pub, all kinds of everything. And then this gets dropped in their lap. And now all of a sudden, everybody in the Dodgers organization and everybody in Major League Baseball is saying, what the hell? What's going on? I mean, there's no words to describe what's going on with him right now. I mean, if I'm the Dodgers, I might just say to him,
unprecedented. That's the word. You know what I mean? We haven't seen this since maybe Pete Rose, and this is deeper than Pete Rose, if you ask me, because like Pete Rose wasn't playing at the time, right? He was a manager, so it's a little different. This is unprecedented at times that we haven't really seen maybe since the Black Sox, right? And we're all. I mean, Scott's the closest one. He was a toddler then, so during the Black Sox.
How old is Ray Liotta?
Well, like I said, Pete Rose, when it first came out about his gambling, he was the manager, but he admitted later on he gambled when he played too. So I mean, but we didn't know that at the time. So
right.
You're correct. We're talking about over 100 years since we've had something like this with a player in a gambling scandal. So. Like I said, and it's kind of ironic because again, at that time, the White Sox, and if we go back in history, and which I love baseball history, Chicago White Sox were the top franchise in Major League Baseball. They were the more popular team in Major League Baseball at that time in the early 1900s. I mean, obviously, you had Babe Ruth on, one of the more iconic players, but it was still kind of growing into the game at that point. But he wasn't what we knew him to be, and the Yankees weren't who we knew them to be at that point yet. The White Sox of the early 1900s, they were the big franchise, and you had the big owner in Charles Comiskey on top of it. So there's some similarities from that early 1900s, Black Sox scandal. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was 1917, I believe it was.
It was.
White Sox to where we are today with the biggest star in baseball right now, and the biggest one of the biggest franchises in the game. You're 100%. Yeah, that's the closest precedent we have. Is over 100 years ago where the situation is occurring.
Yeah, this is like you just said. This is unprecedented. There's nothing in the current landscape.
We've never seen this before. Yeah,
sports.
Yeah,
of sports. Exactly. Never mind just baseball. Of sports that would come close to comparison with this. Nothing.
I mean, you could probably say
not.
You could probably say the NBA's Tim Donaghy situation, but again, that's
1919.
That's the closest one. But that's not even a player, right? That's just, you know what I mean, a ref. Which I mean, people had a lot of suspicions going on there.
A rogue rep who,
a guy that could affect games, and Scott Foster and Tim Donaghy and everybody else. So I mean,
Scott Foster still reffing.
Still reffing games and hates Chris Paul more than ever. So,
gotta love it.
Jonathan, let's go ahead. Let's jump into it. The American League East. A couple teams that were on the Shohei deal, and and didn't get him, and maybe they're glad. But let's start with the defending American League team, a team that I think could run this thing back after Cole is out for the Yankees, and that's the Orioles. Thoughts on the O's here in the American League East?
I think
before Jonathan goes, I hear somebody calling me. I'll be back in like 25 minutes. So
is it John Calipari? Can you tell him to go fuck off?
Breaking news. John Calipari's been fired.
Been telling him that for years. I don't understand. Welcome aboard, I guess.
Oh man. So tune in, folks, because at the end of March Madness, your boy's going to be drinking a sardine milkshake.
Oh, goodness.
It's going to slide down.
Unless something crazy happens. Unless my bracket just fucking goes great and everybody else shits the bed. I had Kentucky winning the motherfucker.
Oh, look at you. Look at you.
Hold on. Before I talk
about the drink the sardine milk.
What? Like I said, before I talk about the Orioles, why? Did you not watch
Kentucky? Why what? Why Kentucky?
Yeah, why? I could have told you not to do that. And I'm not even like Mr. Basketball.
Everybody was picking UConn. I wanted to, I just thought that there was the breaks. I don't fucking know. I don't really have a reason, Jonathan. I don't have a reason why I do a lot of things. I just get a hair up my ass and I do it. You know what I mean?
I think I had Kentucky going to the Elite Eight, so that side of the bracket's all busted.
I'll say I did not do a bracket this year. I did not watch enough college basketball to do a bracket. And, the boys.
Well, when you host a sports show, Jonathan, you got to fucking do a bracket. So we had to do a bracket, and then we all placed dumb bets. And I chose if I finished last out of the five of us, I would drink a sardine milkshake. And guess what's going to happen? I'm going to fucking have to drink a sardine milkshake.
Jonathan, I filled out my very first bracket because I'm on this show. I've never filled out a bracket.
Everybody talking. Tune in to Let's Talk Sports Show next week. We're going to have Khalees singing "My Milkshake Brings All the Boys to the Yard."
I mean, we gotta wait for the tournament to finish out. But I'm probably gonna finish last out of the five of us. I think. I mean,
I'll say this real quick. The boys did ask me why, if I did a bracket. I told them no, I didn't do a bracket this year. I didn't watch enough basketball to really pay attention to it. And they were like, well, yeah, but you could still.
Well, Johnny.
My response was this. If I fill out a bracket, I expect this is just everything I do in sports or anything like that. If I fill out a bracket, I'm expecting to win. This year, I did not feel confident enough to win a contest, a bracket challenge or anything like that. So therefore, I didn't partake. I'd rather not play then lose. That's just how I didn't.
Hey, well,
Hey,
That's
Jonathan,
the way to
before
go.
you
No
talk
matter
about
what,
the
yeah.
Orioles, before you talk about the Orioles, what's your favorite Matchbox 20 song for Robert down here? He wants to know.
My favorite Matchbox. I honestly don't even know many Matchbox 20 songs. I'm sorry.
Jonathan, you miss 100 of the shots, 100% of the shots you don't take. So I'm going to keep chucking, baby. You know, one of them's going to land. That's my motto.
I play to win, and if I'm in my position where I don't expect to win, no.
Hey,
no.
I play to win too, but I got to take the shot, baby. You got to take a shot, and maybe once in a while she'll say yes, Johnny. You know what I mean? My buddies, when I used to get drunk at the bars a lot, I started with the dime piece, right? And then she'd say no, and I worked my way down to about the twos and the ones because the drunker I got, the better they looked. You know what I mean? But I was still shooting my shot till the night closed.
Listen, Nick's got 5 months of bragging about the Cowboys because he thinks they're going to control the NL Central. So he's got 5 months on the couch. So it's time for the Orioles. Let's talk about the Orioles. Not to change subject, but
Sam, you all right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You said you're going to start out with the 10s and make your way on down.
Sam, do you need a minute?
No, I'm fine. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You gotta shoot. You gotta shoot your shot, brother. You gotta shoot it, no matter what. Orioles, Jonathan.
Orioles. Let's segue as much as
Orioles,
we can.
great cookie. Love them.
This was the best team in the American League last year, and they're going to get even better because they're young kid. They're a young team. The young kids are going to get more experience, and by the way, they're going to get even better because we're going to expect to see Jackson Holliday at some point, if not break training camp with the big league club. He will certainly be called up here pretty soon. The kid's the real deal, being the number one prospect in all of baseball. The one thing that this team was missing in 2023, they addressed it recently during spring training, and that was getting a number one pitcher, and that was trading for Corbin Burns. That makes this team absolutely legit, not only in the regular season, but when they do make it to the postseason, because what failed them was their pitching. They did not have a pitcher to answer the Rangers when they faced the Rangers. I'm sorry, the Orioles played the Rangers?
Yeah, they did. They did.
Okay, I'm making. They didn't have a pitcher to answer to who the Rangers threw out there with Eovaldi pitching as well as he did. You had Scherzer for at times. He just wasn't healthy, but the pitching staff for that Rangers team absolutely dominated, and the pitching for the Orioles fell apart and just was not strong enough. You now have a guy that you can give the ball to in game one of a series, and you're confident you're going to win, and that's what Corbin Burns is. And so you add that number one starter to your rotation, which you did not have in 20. I don't care that you brought in Jack Flaherty. Jack Flaherty was not a number one guy last year. You bring in a legitimate arm that's going to carry your rotation and help some of these guys that you have get stronger and better throughout a year. So now Kyle Bradish, he gets a chance to kind of sit back and be able to watch Burns and not have as much pressure on him. Grayson Rodriguez the same. John Means the same. Dean Kramer. You throw a lot of names. There's a lot of names in that rotation that can get opportunities to pitch. They're good pitchers. They're young pitchers. But now you have a guy that you can hand the ball to and say, hey, we're going to win this game because we have this guy. Offensively, I think this team is absolutely phenomenal with the superstar Adley Rutschman. I think at the end of 2024, we will say Adley Rutschman is the best catcher in all of baseball. I firmly believe that. This kid is stud. This kid is absolutely special. Ryan Mountcastle is a good first baseman that and you can be able to utilize other guys, Anthony Santander, Ryan O'Hearn, but Ryan Mountcastle is a good underrated first baseman. You have, like I said, Jackson Holliday at some point is going to be your shortstop in the big league club. Gunnar Henderson is going to move to third base full time when that happens and be able to be a budding superstar that he's been. He was great last year, and he's going to get even better this year because of the depth they have on this team. It's amazing to see. You get a lot of young guys, Cedric Mullins, who played with the WBC with Team USA, and he's underrated as a top talent center fielder in the game. And I said Anthony Santander in the outfield, right field. He's got a good
Jackson
bat.
Holiday.
I said Jackson Holiday, who will be your shortstop, if not beginning of the season. At some point, probably the end of May, he'll get called up and he'll be that starting shortstop, moving Henderson to third base full time. this is an exciting team. But when I say exciting team, at times we talk about, well, they're exciting, but there's no but with this group. As I said yesterday with Scott and Allen, the Orioles are the Atlanta Braves 4 years ago.
Yeah.
The Braves are in their window of six, in year 6 of their window of winning division titles. The Orioles are in year 2 right now, that window, and they're going to be good for a very long time. And as they continue to develop, they're going to get better. And this year, I expect no different. This Orioles team is for real. They're young, exciting, but they're really good. And they're in the right time with this division to peak as they are. They're not even peaking yet, but they're peaking at the right time with this division being kind of weak. That what we've seen in years past. This is the time for the Orioles to really dominate this division.
Jonathan, if you had to find a weakness with the Orioles, where is it? Is it in the back end of the rotation? Is it depth? Where is it if you had to find somewhere that they needed to improve?
I mean,
is it their bullpen? To me, it's their bullpen.
You could say bullpen, but you add. I mean, again, I know Craig Kimbrell is not the same closer that he was.
Oh, I forgot Craig Kimbrell.
He's not the same closer he was in Atlanta. He's been kind of up and down throughout his career, throughout the second half of his career. But Craig Kimbrell does provide substance as a closer for you. So I think that's an addition that you add that's going to help you out. You have again some young arms that are going to be good. You have Yanier Cano, Cianel Perez, Dylan Tate, Jacob Webb, Keegan Aikman. These are some, again, they're not household names, but they are good. So if I had to say a weakness, if I had to pick one weakness, I think it's the bullpen, just because we don't know much about these guys, but it doesn't mean they're not good. So I would say if I had to pick a weakness, that bullpen is just because, again, we don't know much about them other than a couple guys here and there.
Where do you like them to finish at, Jonathan?
They're first place. This is the first place to be the division winners of the American League East. And it won't even be close.
Johnny,
not even close.
Listening to this,
how many games do you think they win it by?
They win it by 12.
Whoa! Hey!
Wow!
Yeah, because we'll get to them.
Is it because Cole's out for the Yankees for 2 months?
That's part of it. It's part of it. It has to be.
No, because I didn't even have the Yankees. I didn't have the Yankees competing for this division.
Yeah, we talked about it last night with the AL East. We didn't. I think Toronto's got more of a chance to finish in second than the Yankees do.
Yes.
Ooh, okay. Well, let's not jump the gun, Scott. Where do you like the O's finishing?
I get them first. They're the best team. They could be the best team in the American League by far. It might not be close. I mean, them and the Astros. So.
I mean, Jonathan basically went down. Wow, his picture there is pretty. That's wow. He's golfing.
Jonathan's gone. He's had enough.
I'm pretty sure he's hitting his baseball bat.
I also have them finishing first. I had them winning by 8 games and not 12. And as I watched my note card, my sad little note card, as Jonathan just went down the list of things I was going to say, I would like to. They also have a very rich farm system. So there you go. And the borrow
that's what happens when you suck for 20 years and then you finally draft really good. And it's going to pay off for them. And I'm rooting for the O's. I personally think the black hat with the white around it and the Oriole, that's one of my favorite hats in all of baseball. I love their uniforms. I think they got one of the best looking uniforms in all of baseball. I like the O's first place as well.
Last question on the O's before we move on to the other teams. Other than the Braves, Jonathan, have they done the best job at rebuilding an organization that you can remember?
I mean, you can put Tampa Bay in that conversation. Because Tampa Bay for a while, they were not a good team. Then they figured it out. They figured out how to do their system within the scouting and be able to handle the payroll that they have and just learn how to replenish losing players like Evan Longoria and David Price and not slipping up at all. You're still getting better. Tampa Bay would be the other part of that I think that knows the system of how they run and knows how to get players that fit that. Baltimore has figured it out. And much like Nick said, it does help that when you draft well and you hit on players that are going to be superstars. Gunnar Henderson and Jackson Holliday being one. Again, You cannot miss number one pick. That's what Jackson Holliday was. You cannot miss. If you miss, you're fired. You lose a job if you miss your number one pick. So the fact that they hit on Holliday and they were able to get that correct, it does help. And he's going to be in the big leagues this year. He's on a fast track, and we're going to see him in 2024. So that helps. And then at the same time, you develop. You figured out how to develop. It's not just about drafting well, because teams draft well. Because they end up being, but can you develop that player to be the superstar that you want them to be, that you need them to be, or at least a solid, serviceable major leaguer that can be in your role on your team for 6, 7, 8 to a decade of years to provide what you need. So that's the goal, and that's what, again, the Braves they figured out for the last 30 years. Yeah. The Rays, they've done over the last decade and plus. The Orioles are in the process now. If they continue in this direction, they will be added to that list 100%. Diamondbacks, I see Carlos. Diamondbacks, they've had moments where they've been up with it, and then they've had moments where they've been down. And we're seeing the Diamondbacks progress to being up again. We have teams like the Tigers right now. We're going to see if they figured it out this year and how long can they sustain it. Because it's not just doing it for 1 year. Can you sustain it? That's why the Braves are the most frustrating franchise, speaking as a Braves fan, because they figured out how to do the system. They develop well. They do everything correct, and the players, personnel wise, they haven't won the big game enough to be satisfied with what you've done in your system. But they figured out how to do it for 30 years. Rays doing it for 10 years, and so on. So can you sustain the serviceability of your development and process of how you do your system? That's the goal. And then right now, the Orioles are in year 2. And I think they're going to, again, if they screw this up,
it's going to be hard for them to screw it up. It's going to be hard for them to screw it up. But it's going to be hard.
If they do, people should lose their jobs faster than you can blink. Because they are set up for success for the next decade, much like the Braves are in the middle of their decade of success right now and how they develop their players.
And Sam, the Guardians aren't on the rebuild; they're on the downtrend. So I'm sorry.
Thank you, Scott. Hey, how is Red Sox doing? That's what I thought.
We already covered the AL Central. We're on the AL East, Scott. Speaking of the Blue Jays, Jonathan. What's your thoughts on them? I mean, it seems like they keep having these same young guys, Vlad Guerrero, Bo Bichette, and it just seems like they can't ever put it all together.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting to the point where I just, how I treated them, how I'm treating them, kind of how the White Sox were for me for years ago before they fell off and didn't know how to, and they absolutely sucked. But for a while, the White Sox were that team, like you were expecting them to be more competitive than what they were, and they never fulfilled the expectations. And that's kind of what the Blue Jays have been right now. Is they tease you like we're good, we're just not good enough. We know we have super talented players, but we can't put it together. I mean, with the lineup that you have with this team, with the batting line that you have with Vlad Guerrero Jr., Kevin Biggio, Bo Bichette, you added Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, you have George Springer, Dalton Varsho. You have players. Why can't you put it together? And the problem here is how they value their pitching staff is the reason why. They have undervalued pitching. They
don't have a pitcher. They don't have a guy I feel like you can give the ball to and say, go win us this game.
Kevin Gausman.
Yeah, that's it.
Kevin Gausman.
Is he really the ace, though? It's like he's the guy, like he's a guy that you're like bona fide ace stud?
He has to be.
He has to be on their team. That's what I'm saying. Yes. He has to be on their team. But on a really good, like on a good team, he on a real bona fide World Series team, he's probably a 2.
2/3.
Well, look, I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to let you slander an LSU alum here. Okay? I love one direction here.
It just comes full circle.
But I'll say you are correct on a World Series contending team. Gausman is a 2 or a 3. I agree with you on that. But he can be. He has pitched in his career like a number one. He had numbers that were number one-ish last year. 12 record-wise doesn't add up to it because, again, the team was inconsistent last year. But that's not his fault. If you go do the numbers of what he controlled, he had a 3.16 ERA, which last year ERAs were inflated. We had a lot of high ERAs, with some really good pitchers.
Yeah, hitting was up. Hitting was up, yeah.
So 3.16 ERA, really good. 1.18 WHIP, really good. 237 strikeouts, 185 innings. He put up numbers for you. So for this staff, yeah, he can be the number one for this staff and be serviceable in that role. The issue, though, is not just with him. It's with the rest of the pitching staff that you have no confidence in, with Jose Barrios, Chris Bassett, Alex Manoah. It might come out one of the worst signings you could think of. Alex Manoah has done absolutely nothing in Toronto. That's where when you value or you devalue pitching, you get a pitching staff like this, and you don't get over the hump in a division that has been wide open. It has been for the taking. You've been competitive with the Tampa Bay Rays for last. You've been right there with them. You've been competitive with the Yankees. You've been competitive with the Orioles last year. You are right on the cusp, and you have done nothing to shore up the one part of your game that is the most important, and that is your pitching staff. So, that's where I'm at with this team. It's frustrating to watch because they're good. They just don't have the areas where they're needing to be better at, and they cannot get out of their own way to improve that area and really put themselves in position to be competitive for a division title.
Where do you got them finishing here?
I got them finishing second, but as I stated a little bit, it's a distant second.
Scott, where you got the Jays finishing?
I'm with Jonathan. I mean, they're, as I said last night on the show, I think I said it last night, we've been touting Toronto for years. I'm done touting Toronto. I just am done. They've disappointed time and time again. So I got them finishing second. They'll probably get in the playoffs as a wild card, but probably get knocked out in the first round. If maybe, if the rest of the American League falls apart. But yeah, Toronto is second for me.
I got them finished. Sam, where do you got them finishing?
I thought I was going to be sneaky here, but I have them second as well. So sucks.
Call me crazy. I actually got them. I got them finishing third, possibly fourth.
I can understand it though. I told you before the show came on, I was having trouble with getting the division.
I think they could fall down between the Yankees and the and the Rays, and they'll be ahead of the Red Sox. I mean, their pitching is, as we said, is not the Yankees not having Cole for 2 months and maybe longer scares me. That's
a lot of that. Yeah,
Jonathan, I just pulled up the Blue Jays stuff. Gausman might not start the season with the Blue Jays. He's injured.
Oh, jeez.
That's what they're.
All right, they're definitely finishing third.
Yeah. It says Kevin Gausman might be the season. Blue Jays close to a decision on Gausman.
Unlike Nick, I don't waver from my decisions that I make, and I'm sticking with the Blue Jays as the second best team in this division.
I don't waver. I just take information as it's given, and then I say, hey, I reevaluate, Jonathan.
Where did
I
waver?
The next week, I just change everything.
Hey, he doesn't waver. Where did you initially say the Chicago White Sox were finishing?
Well, I said I reevaluated. I reevaluated after I reevaluated.
Oh, you can change the words all you want. It's still the same.
Nah, reevaluate. I reevaluate.
Remember, I'm a journalist. I have a journalism degree. I'm English major. I know how the words of the English language work. When you change them up, they're still the same words.
I reevaluate, and I have a professional in bullshit. So so I have a doctorate in bullshit. So
listen, we got to leave Nick alone tonight. He's
don't we all?
The Kentucky thing has set him off. He's going to be all.
Don't we all have that doctorate?
I
Some degree. Just some of us have a doctorate, some of us have an associate's, masters.
Nick's got a
let's get into
PhD in journalism with a master's in bullshit.
I got let's get to the Rays. They're a team that's it seems like they're a team on the descent here a little bit as they try to recuperate after being so well for the last few years, Jonathan.
Yeah, this is where I think this is going to be one of the biggest drop-offs in 2024 as far as team-wise. I think that this team did not handle the turmoil that they dealt with last year with the drama that took place with the Wander Franco situation. And hats off to Kevin Cash for doing the best that he could do. It was, but that was such a difficult situation to deal with, and they just never recovered from it, and they were never able to kind of figure out how to get it going again. On top of that, so you lose the face of your franchise, and that was who Wander Franco was. They invested the biggest contract in franchise history in Franco to be the face of the franchise, and you lose him. Now, again, I think that's wrong. I think Randy Arozarena should have been the face of the franchise for what he's done in his career with them, but they invested that in Wander Franco to be that. You throw in that the pitching staff has had a lot of injuries last year. Shane McClanahan is one that he's going to probably miss majority, if not all of 2020. I think he's going to miss all of 2024, if I remember correctly, with Tommy John. And he was such a great pitcher for this team last year. He was on pace to be a Cy Young candidate, and you lose a guy like that in your rotation, it absolutely hurts. Zach Eflin, had times last year he pitched exceptionally well, but that's not been his career. He's been a more up and down type of guy, and more times down than up. He kind of figured it out a little bit last year. Can he continue that? Can he be the number one pitcher for this Rays staff? We talked about, you talk about Gosman for the Blue Jays. This staff has a little bit more holes. You lose Tyler Glass now. He's in LA, with the Dodgers. McClanahan is out I would assume for the year. Eflin has to be your number one, which he was not. He was a number 3 for you last year, and he's being bumped to be the number 1. That's scary. That is scary for the Rays, which is a shame.
Baez is supposed to come back at some point in time, from his Tommy John surgery.
At some point, but again, it's a matter of when. When is that going to be the case? So this pitching staff has taken hit after hit over the last 5 months, and that makes me nervous about this team. I don't see them, and they had moments last year they didn't score very well. They did not score runs a lot. Yandy Diaz, I believe he was an all-star last year. He's a good player. You bring in Ahmad Rosario from the Dodgers, Brandon Lowe, Isaac Paredes, good players. And again, the superstar you have in Randy Arozarena. Is it enough, though? I think that's going to be the question. Is it going to be enough for this team to compete with the Orioles in this division, or even Blue Jays for a wild card position? I don't think it is. I think we're going to see the Rays really come back down to earth with this franchise. We have not seen them really do much in the last decade. They're going to be in a world of trouble this year, and it's going to be something we have not seen Tampa Bay be in. And I think they're going to fall back down a lot this year. They will be out of the playoff chase. They won't be a wild card team. I think there's just too many issues. And at some point, knowing how the economy is in Tampa with this franchise, they might have some sell-offs. And Randy Arozarena might be one of those that we see get moved to kind of replenish some of the players in their farm system that they need to replenish on.
I like where you got them finishing.
I do have this team finishing third. I think they will finish third in this division. Like I said, they'll be competitive, but I just don't see them doing enough to push the Blue Jays and the Orioles for at least a contendership. But they'll be a third place team.
Scott,
yeah, they're third. Third for me.
Sam,
bronze them up, Nick. Bronze them up.
So I got the Blue Jays finishing 4th, and I got them finishing 3rd. So mark it down, baby.
You don't want to wait till next week's show to change your votes again?
It's a fluid situation. Until the season starts, I'm allowed to change, okay?
Okay. All right. Yeah, all right.
I guess technically the season started. I mean, we did have a couple games played in Korea or wherever the hell they played in. Let's get to Scott's team. The team that's probably going to finish dead last, I believe. None other than the Boston Red Sox. Well, actually, and if Scott finishes last, Jonathan, in our pool, our March Madness bracket, he would become a Yankee fan because he would have to wear a Yankee hat and jersey on every show. But,
here, Scott, I'll hold your hand.
Lucky for him.
Lucky for me, Kentucky. As John Calipari said tonight on the press conference on CBS Sports, this was a painful loss.
What?
Okay, that's the statement of the year.
Yeah. Might have been his last loss in Kentucky. Might have been his last loss.
Could be.
People have kind of been
anyway,
saying
Jonathan, the Boston Red Sox.
I'm trying to come up with some
despicable for you to dare call me impeccable, Stephen A. Smith. I mean, Jesus. Go ahead, Jonathan.
I'm going to speak very clearly so everyone can hear me.
I'm trying to wrap up some. I'm trying to wrap up some positives to come up with for the Red Sox right now, and
there is none.
Yeah,
they won a World Series a couple years ago.
I can't see. It's so dark.
I mean, the pitching staff again. You don't have you bring your big signing for your pitching staff was Lucas Giolito, who had a very awful year in 2023. Was terrible in Chicago. He got traded to the Angels, and he was even worse with the Angels. And that was your big signing.
Didn't he go to the Guardians at one time? And they cut him.
He did. He pitched for the Guardians for like.
Yeah. So yeah, he got. I'm sorry. So yeah, he was traded to the. He was traded to the Angels, and then DFA'd, and he ended up signing with the Guardians,
and then DFA'd by them.
So that was your big signing if you're the Red Sox, and now he's out for the year with Tommy John. You do commit an extension to Brian Bello, and I think again, young pitcher. He had some moments where he's been exciting on the mound, but consistency issues. 12 and 11 in 2023 last year, 4.24 ERA, 1.34 WHIP, 132 strikeouts, 157 innings. So there's moments where you can be excited about him, and there's moments where you sit there and go, man, you need more time, but we don't have the luxury to give you more time in the minors. We need you in the big leagues now. That's how the Brian Bello and Scott can tell me if I'm wrong on that or not.
No, you're 100% right.
You have Nick Pivetta in the rotation. At this point, at this stage of his career, you're not really expecting a lot out of him. He's an innings eater type of guy, and you're hoping to get at least get a handful of innings out of him. Cutter Crawford, Garrett Whitlock, guys that you're sitting in kind of what you just said, Nick. Who these guys are? They're going to get hit hard. And they're developing. You're hoping that these kids can get time to be able to develop and be able to work through some of the things that they're working through.
Yeah, I don't know how Giolito's going to have a comeback year when he's not playing.
Yeah, he's out for the year. He's out for the year, Kel. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's embarrassing. Oh, don't look. Yeah. Look away. Look away, everybody. Look away.
You say you said Cutter Crawford is going to turn into the anchor for that staff. 6-8 record with a 4.04 ERA, 1.11 WHIP, 31. I mean, there's not a lot of guys on this team, and I appreciate Kel the response on it, but there's not a lot of guys that you could say that are going to be the anchor of this pitching staff when the use the analogy continuing, the pun intended here, when the ship is sinking. Yep. And that's kind of what you're at. You're a sinking ship in the Red Sox because the moves they continue to make, and we've said this was Scott. I said this was Scott. The moves they've made over the last few years, not just this year, the moves that they've made the last few years have set them up with no depth anywhere on this team. In the pitching side, the bullpen, is no. There's nobody you can sit there and say, hey, go help save us. Hold them, and we have confidence in you doing your job to hold a team when we need you to hold them the most. There's nobody really, to do. Chris Martin maybe, but at times Chris Martin's been hit hard in the last couple of years. He's been bounced around quite a bit. The pitching is going to be very rough for this Red Sox team. And then you go even worse, where it's the offensive side. Rafael Devers is the guy. He's the face of the franchise. being the money guy that they chose to pay him over paying Xander Bogaerts and Mookie Betts. I'm looking at it. Bobby Dalbec, is he going to continue to kind of be a serviceable first baseman for you? Maybe. At shortstop, is Trevor Story finally going to be healthy enough to play? Are we going to see the Trevor Story of his time in Colorado, or are we going to continue to see Trevor Story be a bust in Boston that is done nothing but frustrate this fan base? What are you going to? I know Alan put out Kale put out there about Vaughn Grissom. How are you going to utilize him? Is he going to be at second base? Is he going to be an outfielder? How are you using Vaughn Grissom, who you traded for with the Braves on the Chris Sale deal? So there's a lot of there's a lot of question marks that are not just going to be answered in 2024. It's going to take a couple of more years for this franchise to answer these questions and figuring out who can you keep and who's going to be serviceable to bring us to be a competitive team in 2024 that we can build in the future around a core future with. Jarren Duran, you'd be one of them. I'm going through the names. He could be one that you're kind of excited about at times. Again, obviously, like I said, Devers. But Grissom has to be. If you made the move for Grissom, you're going to have to include him in the core group. But there's just not a lot of excitement for this team, and and if you're Cora, you have to ask yourself, how much longer do you want to be in Boston? Because again, you're a World Series winning manager, and this team is far away from winning a World Series, and they're not. And it doesn't seem like they're going to be getting anywhere close to doing so anytime soon.
Where you got them finishing?
This is the worst team in the division. They're going to finish 5th place.
Scott?
Yeah, I'm a Red Sox fan. I can tell you right now, they're not even sniffing. They're not even sniffing fourth. They're not even sniffing fourth place. I mean, look at this is the projected staff: Brian Bayo, Nick Pivetta, Carter Crawford, Tanner Houck, Garrett Whitlock. They switched Pivetta from starting rotation to bullpen last year. They just kept jockeying him around. So if he has a bad start, are they going to put him back in the bullpen again? They have nobody else in this. I mean, this is Cora's last year of his contract. I don't think he's going to want to resign in Boston unless they can prove to him that they're willing to build a winner. And Kale said about Ref Snyder and Grissom. First of all, Grissom's not starting for them. And neither is Ref Snyder. So they're not diamond. Ref Snyder's not a diamond in the rough. He's a nothing right now. He's a bench player, a utility bench player right now. So
I'll go a little further because I've watched Vaughn Grissom over the last few years in Atlanta and in the Braves system. There's a reason why the Braves traded him.
Yeah,
because he was so far behind defensively at shortstop. They were looking to try to move him the outfield. He didn't fit to the plans of doing so. Vaughn Grissom has no position right now. He's played second base for the Braves in 2022. He did not have a future at shortstop. And Ron Washington, who is hands down probably the best infield coach in all of baseball, he signed off on working with him to say that he has potential. But what the definition of potential is, you haven't done it yet. And Vaughn Grissom lost out on his potential because he could not be consistent enough to give the confidence of the coaching staff in Atlanta to put him at shortstop and say, you're the shortstop of the future. Orlando Arcia got a 3-year contract extension because he beat out Vaughn Grissom. And Arcia, he's a good player, but not a great player. And if you're the future like you're supposed to be, you don't let Orlando Arcia beat you out at shortstop. And that's the problem with Vaughn Grissom. He can hit, absolutely. He can hit. But defensively, Vaughn Grissom is behind, very behind, and it's going to take time to really supplant himself as a MLB shortstop.
And the last thing I'll say about the Red Sox is this: they have an absentee owner. Their owner is not around. He's not. He's too busy with the soccer team and other things.
Theo's back in the building, though, Scott. Theo's back in the building.
Yeah, but he's basically they created a position for him, and I don't, because they hired Breslow as their baseball ops guy. Basically, Theo has no say in this organization. He's just basically
he's God himself. Or the devil. I don't know which one. But
if I was Theo, I'd fire everybody. I tell the ownership, I'm firing everybody. I'll take the team back over again.
Theo may not have a say today,
but he
He'll
will
have a
mention
say by tomorrow.
I say before for the 2025 season, we'll see Theo Epstein take over.
I think so.
I agree. He's not a loser. He's a guy that wants to win. Sam, where do you got the Red Sox?
To quote the great Dave Chappelle, there are so many amendments, but I plead the fifth amendment. They're five. They're
Okay.
fifth place.
Yeah. I mean, when you when Devers is
no Chappelle show there, nothing.
I get it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Devers.
All right. Fine.
It just didn't land.
Whatever.
It's all right.
I know.
Devers,
I'm done talking about it.
all right. Good. Thank God. Devers, when he's calling out, when he's saying, "What the hell are we doing here?" Then you already know when your star player's saying, "I don't think we're trying to win here." I think that questions a lot of things. They're finishing last. Let's get to the last team, and that's the Evil Empire. Mr. Yankee Finn's not here tonight. His back was hurting. But the Yankees, Jonathan.
Good from pinstripe perspective. It'll be on tomorrow night or the night after.
He'll be on pinstripe perspective tomorrow.
Shameless, sir. You're shameless.
They make the big trade for Juan Soto. We know Garrett Cole is going to be out for at least a minimum of 2 months. Thoughts on the New York Yankees?
Jonathan said it last night on the show, on the baseball show. I wouldn't be surprised either. Cole does not pitch this year at all.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
And I think that's a very likely situation that we see is Garrett Cole will miss all of 2024. It all depends on how competitive this team is by June, by July. If they're within a pennant race, we may see Cole, try to come in and help and be the uplifter that this team needs. But the elbow is such a tricky thing, and there's so much money invested in Garrett Cole that I don't see that. I couldn't fathom the idea of the Yankee front office risking Cole, because if he let's just put it this way, if he does come back in June and July, that elbow gives out. Well, now he's out for all of 2025.
Whew.
And that's your ace, and you don't have anybody else.
No risk tomorrow for today.
Exactly. So
exactly.
I think that's got to be in the minds of the front office for the Yankees right now. Is yes, we're going to be without Cole for the next couple months. Do we want how much do we want to risk the future right now? Because again, we missed out on Blake Snell. We missed. We're in conversation with Jordan Montgomery right now. But Montgomery's not a top of the line rotation guy that you are hoping that you need in replacing Cole. Nestor Cortez is your day one starter, your opening day starter tomorrow. They announced it. He pitched today against the Braves, went 4 innings, got 6 hits, 4 runs, and struck out 3 with 2 walks. So he got hit very hard today with the Braves lineup. That again. Braves are. We'll talk about this next week, I'm sure, but they're the best team in all of baseball. But if you're supposed to be the number 1 pitcher, you're supposed to be more competitive, and he was not today. So that's a concern. Is Carlos Rodon healthy? That's another question that this pitching staff's going to have to answer. Is Rodon healthy? Are we going to see the Carlos Rodon that was a Cy Young candidate in San Francisco, or are we going to see the Carlos Rodon that absolutely was abysmal in 2023? Marcus Stroman is probably the more consistent pitcher you have in this rotation. And the fact that he's he's going to be number 4 and he's going to be number 3 right now to start the season. Well, Marcus Stroman should be your number 2. And if anything, Stroman probably should be your opening day starter because of what you get out of Marcus Stroman. And so, but he needs to be the frontline guy of this staff until when and if Cole does come back. But there's still so many question marks to have to ask is what's going to happen. Who's the last 2 spots? Clark Schmidt, Cody Poteet, Clayton Beater, Luke Weaver. Like you got names out here that, again, never heard of them. Don't know what they're going to be. Or what are they going to do for you? Are they going to give you more than what you got out of last year's rotational guys? That's a huge question. And again, it goes to Carlos Rodon's health. Is Nestor Cortez even going to have a bounce back here? Because he was not good in 2023 either. So this Yankees team is chock full. And I'm just talking about the pitching staff right now. There's so many question marks. You can go to the lineup too, and there's still question marks in the batting order. All right, that this team is built around one player, and then right now you can say it's built around two players, and that's Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. What happens if one of them struggles, and what happens if one of them goes down with an injury, or albeit, what if both of them at some point go down with an injury? That's likely. Aaron Judge does not stay healthy. He had one healthy year, set a record, a great job, but throughout his career so far, he's not been able to stay healthy the whole season. It's still an old team. They're still a very old team. Jose Trevino, who's 32 years, he's 31 years old. Anthony Rizzo is 34 years old. You have DJ LeMahieu, 35 years old. Verdugo, they brought in Verdugo. The outfield's much better. I'll say that. I will give it this. The outfield is a much better outfield this year than it was in past years. You do have Alex Verdugo. You have Aaron Judge. You have Trent Grisham, who's a defensive replacement kind of guy for you. You have Juan Soto. The defense is better as far as on the outfield side. The infield, if you're a Yankee fan, you should be concerned with this infield. Anthony Volpe was not really that good last year. He struggled, and they praised him. They were hyping him up, and he did not answer the bell. 209 average, 21 home runs, which, again, they play on a slow-pitch softball field. You should hit 20 home runs in your sleep. I could go out tomorrow and probably hit 20 home runs in 541 at-bats.
All right, let's go do it. Everybody meet at Yankee Stadium first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And to Kale's comment, he said Volpe is going to be the star of the infield. Does he even have a New York mindset to play in New York? He was awful last year. I don't think he does. I think he's going to be the same guy he was last year. And if that's the case, they whiffed on him too, because I don't think he could play in New York.
At the same time, you have Oswald Peraza, young kid behind. He struggled. 173 at bats. He batted 191. So DJ LeMahieu is going to get opportunities to play third base. But again, I love DJ, LSU guy. I hate that he plays for the Yankees with a burning passion, but he couldn't stay healthy. His health right now has not been good over the last couple of years. So that's a problem for him. So if you're going to trust on other guys, these younger kids to step up, they're going to have to do it this year. Saying that Gleyber Torres, he came out of his shell a little bit last year and he played well. He was probably one of the better players on this team outside of Aaron Judge, batting 273, 25 home runs, 68 RBIs, which is not really his game. So he played well, but he's playing really well in spring training right now with a 351 average in spring training. So Gleyber Torres might be your more consistent player in the infield. And then again, Anthony Rizzo, who's an older first baseman, 244 average last year, 12 home runs.
Coming off concussion history.
He couldn't stay healthy either. So
concussion last year.
Yeah. Concussion he has back problems too, I believe, does he not?
Who's this?
Rizzo.
Yeah, he's had back problems his whole career, but he's had back problems his whole career, but the concussion is what took him out last year.
Concussion got him last year. Yes, the concussion got him last year.
I've said this time and time again on the baseball show and on this show. Baseball has become a younger player's game, and the Yankees are ancient. Stan's going to go down. Rizzo's going to go down. Judge is going to go down.
You don't say that. There will I will not stand any blasphemy about Anthony Rizzo. None.
But he won't go on the IL, but he'll miss games because of his back. His back will stiffen up. He'll become sore.
Oh yeah.
He's not a cleanup hitter, and that's what they have projected. He's more of probably a number 6 hitter for the Yankees right now. But they have nobody else to stick in that position, so that's why he's the cleanup hitter. So
talking about as far as old, how Gleyber Torres is 27 years old. He'll be 28 at the end of the season. He's 27 years old, which he's in the middle of his prime right now. But he's one of your younger players at 27. Again, the young kids that you have that you're hoping to count on. Anthony Volpe, he'll be 23. He'll be 23 next month. Oswald Peraza, he'll be 24 in June. So in these young kids that you have, they're there, but they're not what you want. They're not there yet. They're not showing their talent yet. And that was supposed to be the youth movement era. We're supposed to be in the youth movement era for the Yankees. That's why they don't trade prospects right now. They've been holding on to these kids, and they're our future. But the future needs to happen. it needs to step up right now. They have not stepped up at the moment.
Where do you got the Yankees finishing, Jonathan?
I got them finishing 4th because I just don't trust this pitching staff without Garrett Cole. I don't see how. I have no confidence right now in Carlos Rodon unless he shows me. He's going to have to show me this year that he's healthy and he can handle being in New York. Nestor Cortez, I have zero confidence in that he's going to be the number 1 pitcher for you. No, Marcus Stroman is going to carry the staff, but he's not going to be enough. Often, again, you have to expect Aaron Judge.
No.
You have to expect Aaron Judge to miss some games here and there. Soto, I'm curious to see how Soto's going to handle New York too. That's something that's a wild card.
That's another guy.
Because again, we said this before. This is a fan base that booed Aaron Judge after his record year in the postseason.
Yeah,
they booed Aaron Judge, the captain. He was named the captain of the team. They booed him. So you don't perform, they don't care who you are. And if Juan Soto struggles, if he starts out the gate slow, like he did in San Diego, if he starts out the gate slow in New York, it's a bloodbath for him.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
So, Jonathan, you got to finish in 4th, or you said 4th?
4th.
Scott, where you got him finishing?
I got him finishing 4th, and if the Red Sox weren't as bad as they were, I might pick him to finish last, but 4th.
Sam?
One of the big things I read about the Yankees and the biggest concern was that giving up all those arms that they needed. So, yeah, 4th, I think. I think they're going to sink.
I got to finish in 2nd, baby.
They let Michael King.
I don't think you're crazy for it. I can see it. If it works out, I got
the Yankees finishing 2nd. I wish John was here to help me boost some confidence, but I got him 2nd. They got too many former Cubs. My guy, Anthony Rizzo.
Let's put it this way.
This guy's Kentucky game has destroyed him. And now he's flinging his arms with his hammer.
Let's put it this way with the Yankees. There's been talks out there that Jordan Montgomery's going to sign with the Yankees. Well, if they didn't sign Blake Snell, they ain't signing Jordan Montgomery.
Well, this is the thing about Jordan
John
Montgomery.
said yesterday they can't afford him. They can't afford him the other day. That's what Johnny said.
I said last night with Alan and Scott, he's asking for Aaron Nola money, 7 years, $170 million is what he's asking for.
No
that's
chance.
Outrageous. That's outrageous. But here's the thing, though, about Jordan Montgomery. I don't understand the hype about Jordan right now. Yes, he pitched well in Texas in the second half. He did pitch well, but as a career pitcher, he does not have great numbers. His career high in wins is 9, and that was his rookie year in New York. He since have not won more than 6 games in a season. I don't understand where this hype of Montgomery that he's a difference maker. He's a rotational depth piece. Where's this $170 million mindset that him and Boris think he's worth? I don't understand it. And if he goes to New York, the fact that people think he's a savior of the rotation, no chance. He's a rotational depth piece that's going to just give them another arm. That's what his job is. So if he goes to New York, great. I mean, it happens, and I'm glad. But at the same time, it doesn't change. Him going to New York does not change my view of where they're going to finish. There'll still be a 4th place team if Jordan Montgomery is in New York.
Plus, he's not even starting on a staff until late April because he's not even on the team right now.
But let me just to answer Kale. He's reliable for a short amount of time in a season. He has not pitched well for an entire season. His numbers back it up.
Doesn't matter whether he stays healthy or not, Kale. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. He had a good short stint in Texas last year. But we forget he was average in St. Louis before he got traded. Yep. He just went to a good team. We're talking right now, the Yankees are not a good team. So his numbers are going to get inflated because of that. They'll be
inflated because of that ballpark too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, his numbers got better because he went to play for a team that ended up winning the World Series. But when he was with the Cardinals and the Cardinals were a dumpster fire, he was not that good. Jack Flaherty was the same way. They traded for Jack Flaherty. Baltimore traded for Jack Flaherty, thinking he was going to be the savior of the rotation, and he was
not. Was not.
Montgomery wasn't the savior of the rotation for the Rangers. He was an additional piece. He was a depth piece.
Exactly, Kim. Exactly. That's why he was so successful in Texas, because they could score some runs for him. In New York, if Judge goes down, they ain't scoring runs for them. They're just not going to do it.
Even with Judge and Soto, are you still trusting Anthony Volpe? Are you trusting a older DJ LeMahieu who didn't hit his weight last year? I don't. Again, I love DJ. But DJ batted 243, 15 home runs, 44 RBIs. That's well below what he normally does in his career. Career average for DJ LeMahieu, 292. He's a 292 hitter. He batted 50 points lower than his career average. That's who he is now. You're going to trust DJ to rediscover and be almost a 300 hitter? Are we going to expect Anthony Volpe to figure out how to hit in big leagues? Are we going to expect Oswaldo Cabrera? No. It's the Aaron Judge and Juan Soto show. And if they are down or if they struggle at any point, they're not scoring a lot of runs.
Yeah. Jonathan, before we get you out of here, what are you and the boys, whose ass are you guys kicking this weekend?
So we have Mountain Home again on Saturday. We will travel to them on Saturday for a doubleheader. And right now, that was such a big win today against them that we gained the game on them. They're in second place on the Arkansas side. Obviously we're in first place on the Arkansas side of our conference. So that was a huge win. We gained the game over them. We're hoping for another sweep. We're staying hot. We're ready to go. But if we can get,
you guys going to be ranked in? If they were number 20, you guys going to be ranked once the rankings come out? I don't know. Let's just say Tuesday. I don't know when the rankings come out.
Yeah, I think the hard part for us is we had such a hard non-conference schedule that we weren't as successful during that time frame. That is why we're probably not going to get ranked just yet. Now we did, despite the losses in our non-conference. Again, we played 3 Division I JUCOs that were nationally ranked. We played a team that's actually now number 4 in the country that we should have beat in Division II JUCO. We played such a hard non-conference that even though we lost those games, we still got a lot of RPI points. In college baseball, kind of like how the college basketball, they have the RPI. We have the RPI in college baseball too. So our RPI is actually really high, but the fact that we did not win those games in our non-conference kind of hurts us. So I don't expect us if we sweep Mountain Home, we may start getting consideration, but our record is kind of hurting us right now because of our non-conference. But at the moment right now, that doesn't mean anything, because if we just keep winning games and we keep handling our business, we'll go win conference. We'll still be in the JUCO World Series that way. So we have business to attend to, and that matters more than that number next to our name.
I don't care about the ranking. Just get me in the
Where's
JUCO World
Where's
Series.
the JUCO World Series held at?
JUCO World Series is in Enid, Oklahoma.
All right,
where's the JUCO World Series held at?
Oklahoma. So Nick, here's the deal.
Trip to Oklahoma. If Jonathan, you're in the World Series, we're going.
If they get in the World Series,
are we going shirtless with
Chris show will be in Oklahoma for the World Series. We should do that. I'm
in.
Let's talk sports let's talk sports on the road. Let's go. I'm about that. That'd be great.
I'm in.
I'm not sitting next to Scott.
Road show in Oklahoma, baby.
Come on, Sam.
Nick's like, I'm not.
You guys fly to St. Louis. We'll drive down to Oklahoma after that.
Hey, I'm about it. I'm about having that.
All right, hey Jonathan, best of luck to you. Hell yeah. Best of luck to you guys this weekend. Kick some ass, and on Monday, we know we're going to hear about how good the fucking Braves are. So we'll cover the AL East, and so.
Is there any other teams in the NL East?
He doesn't know any other teams in the NL East.
I don't either.
Real quick too. I mean, we're talking about the Braves, right? Okay, I just got to make sure. I got to make sure we're getting it ready.
Hopefully, you get one of those a real one when you win the JUCO World Series, baby. You know what I mean? Hey, give it up for our favorite hitting coach, Jonathan Grisham, baby. See you, Jonathan. Best of luck to y'all.
Appreciate it, guys.
Love me some Grisham.
We'll go ahead and we will close out our program. Jim will be joining us on Monday. Still at the hockey game, and we were wrapping up. I just said, hey, we'll catch you on Monday. Scott, final thoughts before we get up out of here.
Yeah, sorry about everybody's.
Hey, Scott, hold on. I wanted to ask you a real quick question. Me and Sam kind of talking off air. Thoughts on Cody Rhodes' promo on Monday?
It was interesting. It was really interesting. That's a Cody Rhodes that we haven't really ever seen since he's been back. So
that was the best promo of his life, but I still don't think it was. I mean, it's hard to go bar. It's hard to go bar for bar with the great one. You can't. There's not many people on the planet that cut promos like The Rock against The Rock. So, but definitely Cody Rhodes' best promo.
And the one thing that was smart for them to do is don't allow Seth to come out. Don't allow any interruptions. Just let him go. Just let him go for 8-9 minutes, however long it was.
It's The Rock's was 20 minutes. It went 20-minute long. I'll SmackDown.
Plus the Twitter.
Yeah,
the Twitter stuff in. It's really getting interesting. He's been on The Rock. He hasn't talked Reigns much. It's been mostly Rock. I'm interested to see how they play this out at WrestleMania. Whether Rock really does turn at WrestleMania, or if he just doesn't turn and Reigns goes away. Because if I said it on Tuesday night in the wrestling show, and I'll say it here, if Cody doesn't beat Roman Reigns, who are they going to have beat Roman Reigns? It has to happen at WrestleMania. Yeah. I just can't see it going on much longer. Plus, I think Sam or Allen said he's going to take some time off after WrestleMania, supposedly. So, Reigns. So I think that it's got to happen. We'll see. But it was interesting, and it was really, really good what he's doing.
Yeah. So. Sam, your final thoughts before we get out here, and then we'll go back to Scott for his final thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah, just little basic things. Like I feel like a lot of people try to start a conversation with somebody. This is especially prominent on social media. If you're really going to have a discussion with somebody and you're like going to have a constructive conversation, cool. But it doesn't mean that the person is mature enough to have that conversation. Okay, like nobody wants to be convinced, right? Nobody's going to go on Twitter and say said player is an asshat, and then you say, "Well, why is he an asshat? Because of this reason." You can throw whatever facts you want; they're not budging. So, just be sure, like if you engage with somebody, just make sure that you're just not engaging with a troll, because that's just a no-win situation.
Lots of them out there. Scott, final thoughts here.
Unless you're Nick Bodkins, round them up.
Yeah.
Bing, bing.
Yeah, I mean, this is how the NCAA tournament's been. First of all, this is Christmas, noontime to midnight. I'm in for it. I love it. I love these 2 days. That's number one. Number two, we've come to the point in the NCAA tournament now where nobody is safe in terms of a top 4 seed to win and move on. Nobody's safe. I mean, UConn, Purdue, we all think they're safe. They might not be safe.
We can drop it at any time.
Yep. As we saw with Kentucky tonight, as we saw with, everybody was on Nevada, they choked their game away. So when you're filling out a bracket, you got to pick a lot of upsets, because this is what's going to happen. And betting wise, it's ultra difficult to bet on these games. It just really is. You don't have confidence going into these games. So enjoy it. It's really fun. And you get to see players and teams you haven't ever seen before, and this is what makes March Madness, these upsets. So,
yeah, Jack Golke, is it Golke? Jack Golke, the kid from Oklahoma today, and get this. So my buddy sent me this stat here. Golke has 323 field goal attempts on the season, and only 8 of them were inside the arc. I don't know, John Calipari. Maybe you should have put that on the fucking scouting report, because he made 10 fucking threes against you. I mean, Jesus.
By the way, this was the most painful Kentucky loss for Calipari ever. Understatement.
Early favorite for turn of the week on Sunday. I promise you, might be this Kentucky team, and I mean Golke might be dog of the week if Oakland gets it to the Sweet 16. But he made they said in the how you let a kid that gets 20, you let him shoot 20 threes. And then he makes 10 of them. So more on Kentucky real quick. Kentucky lost 4 of the last 5 tourney games, including to a 14 and a 15 seed. I wasn't the only dumbass that picked Kentucky. They were the 8th most picked champion in the ESPN brackets. So
yeah, I've looked at the different brackets, and I've seen Kentucky picked by a lot of people to win it all. And now after the first night of the tournament, your bracket is basically gone. So you have no chance of winning any prize. Yeah, it's just remarkable how people keep buying into this Kentucky team like they're a powerhouse in the stud, and they're going to go deep in the tournament.
Anything's possible, but yeah, it goes to like what you're saying. This is that time of the year where you get kids that you never heard of or teams you never fucking heard. We've heard of Oakland, but Golke. If a white kid from fucking Oakland that's the last person I would have ever guessed in my life that would have been like, hey, this is the guy. A white guy that plays for Oakland University is gonna fucking light it up tonight. I'd have been like,
listen, really could have used that guy.
As it was said earlier, I'm just glad the Oakland A's had
a white guy from Kentucky, yes. A white guy from Iowa, yes. A white guy from fucking Drake, yes. But a white guy from Oakland, no way.
No, bro.
I'm
just glad the A's won something.
The city of Oakland needed that one. The city of Oakland needed it. They needed this. Golke.
Yep.
How does that happen? You let the guy shoot 10, 20 threes? Like he's only made 8 shots all year inside the perimeter.
Here's what I saw with Kentucky tonight. Okay, I saw a lazy offense that relied on a 3-point shot, and I saw a defense that didn't guard the kid until there was about 12 minutes left in the second half. Then Calipari said, we better guard this kid. This kid, come on. You should have guarded him after he hit his 4th 3-pointer in the first half, not his 10th or 9th of the game.
Yeah, maybe we should start fucking guarding that guy. You know what I mean?
It's just lazy coaching. It's lazy coaching, and it's lazy defense. And as I said when we came on, I saw Kentucky not hustling after loose balls. The Oakland kid knocked the ball away from the Kentucky player, and the Kentucky player just watched the ball roll out of the bounds.
That might be
that's the coach.
Yeah, that might be John Calipari's last game in Kentucky. I don't know. It's hard to fire a guy who's taken to multiple Final Fours and national champions, but it's been a while.
He's a top 3 highest paid coach in college basketball, and he can't win a tournament game against Oakland.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something wrong with that.
If you're going to have the standard that Kentucky claims to have been having for the last decade, you got to do better than that.
You have to be.
Yeah.
You have to be.
I think to let that kid do what he did to you and knowing that should be on the scouting report, like I feel like either that's laziness on Calipari's part, like, hey, we're just going to go out there. We got 5 superior athletes.
We're going to play our game. Yeah,
we're going to play our game. We're better. We're just physically faster, going to be better than them. Well, that kid can fucking make it.
And the other thing that bothers me with Kentucky is this: every year they go through and get all these kids out of the transfer portal.
Yep.
They start new again. Well,
they start not really the transfer portal, just 5 new freshmen, really.
Yeah, that philosophy doesn't work anymore, John. You need to change your philosophy. It just doesn't work. It does not. And he's going to be hammered all day tomorrow on ESPN First Take, on any program you see. Kentucky is going to be hammered tomorrow. They're going to be the laughing stock of the country, and they should be for what they did tonight against Oakland. They should be. They should be. So
totally.
And I don't want to take anything from Oakland because that kid was. He made some tough shots.
Come on.
They win the whole fucking.
Oakland, Duquesne, Dayton. Nobody had them winning the game in the tournament, and those 3 teams are in the round of 32.
Amazing.
I had Duquesne. I had Duquesne winning.
You had Duquesne winning. But Dayton, not many people had Dayton.
Yeah.
And nobody had Oakland. Nobody had Oakland.
Nah.
I'd be shocked if one person had them.
Nah.
So.
Well, they said only 1%. Somebody did because 1% of brackets are only perfect still. And after that, Kentucky.
I think Allen said
I had Sanford winning. Sanford beating Kansas. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're trailing right now.
Sanford was kind of one of my upsets. They're by 10. I don't think. I mean, still
they're
early
only
minute. Still in the
they're
first
only
half,
down 9, and it's early in the
There was
first half.
another upset.
So
Iowa State, the way they handled it, I thought I had
only
been.
down 9 and it's early in the first half. So.
Illinois played a fantastic.
We'll
second
see.
half.
We'll be back on Monday, folks. Yeah. That was worried for them in the first half. Yeah,
I was too. I said it on the group chat.
clenching my
for that.
butthole
I
on
thought
them. Yeah. We'll be back Monday night, 8:00 Central, 9 Eastern. I will be back with a special Bodkin show on Sunday night, 7:00 Central, with none other than my guy Andy, NFL Outdated, the troll man himself.
Hey.
Me and Andy can't wait to sit down with the troll himself. Andy is a big Bears fan, so we're going to dive into that. Big Cubs fan too. So me and Andy should be best of friends because he loves the Cubs. I love the Cubs. He's a big Hawkeye fan. I'm a big Hawkeye fan, but when it comes to football, we don't see eye to eye. Loves the Bears, tries to troll me in Packer shit, but it doesn't work because I just know he don't even believe in that bullshit that he spews.
He doesn't even
Can't
have a
wait to
quarterback
talk to him
right
about it. Yeah, can't
They
wait
do
to
have a
talk to him
quarterback.
all about it. He was crying over Justin Fields leaving, so can't wait to talk to Andy on it. 7:00 Central for the Bodkin show right here. You can check it out. And then again, the LTS show will be back at 8:00 Central, 9 Eastern Monday night with Jim and Jonathan. And we'll give our updated where we're at in the brackets as far as who's first, last between the
You
five
might
of
not
us.
want to. It's not going to be pretty, Nick.
No,
It's not.
It's not going to
You
be
might
good.
not want to.
Well, we got to do it for the people, Scott. I'm a man of my
No,
word. If I lose, I will drink the sardine milkshake on air. I'll make the milkshake in front of y'all and everything. But might have to have my wife come down and help me prepare it. So,
She's like on his
Sam, you ready
shoulder.
Sam, you ready to host the show at the end of March Madness? Because I think Nick will be.
Yeah, sure. I know a lot about college
Absolutely.
football. I can't wait. I mean, basketball.
well, it'll be over, Sam. It'll be over. I guess Monday night, the Monday night of the game, we really could do it then because the national title game.
Right.
It'll probably be settled by that time.
So Sam, you got 2.5 weeks to brush up on your national championship game. So
better.
I might be throwing up on air. So.
and by the way, that night our super producer will probably make an appearance just to watch you drink the milkshake. So
Well, you guys look great. Bye.
Be a friend, tell a friend, folks. Like, subscribe, share. We'll see you Monday night. See ya. Sam, hit that outro, baby.
my milkshake.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk